benefits for millions of Americans caught in the crosshairs of a political battle between Republicans and Democrats. Two federal judges ruling on Friday that the Trump administration must use emergency funds so that that program can continue. And they want an update by today, even if that means benefits for the month will be reduced. On Friday, President Trump said in a post on Truth Social that he is exploring his options right now, trying to get his lawyers to, quote, ask the court to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. NewsNation's Kelly Meyer asked him last night for an update.
It's a much easier situation than that. If they vote to open the country and it's opened up immediately, we don't even have to think about that.
A solution could still be a couple of days away. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying this to CNN.
There's a process that has to be followed, so we got to figure out what the process is. President Trump wants to make sure that people get their food benefits.
So it could be done by Wednesday.
Could be.
Joining us now, Rick Shafer, one of the millions of Americans impacted right now by SNAP benefits being put on hold. His adult son is disabled and on SNAP and Medicaid. Thank you, Rick, for being here. I so appreciate it. Tell us about your situation and how reliant you are on SNAP and why.
Well, my son Bradley is 44 years old, functions at about a 2-year-old level. Requires round-the-clock medical attention, so that lands on me. I'm a single father in my 60s. And I got him on SNAP about 5 years ago. He has a SSI income, and that qualified him for SNAP. SNAP initially gave him about $260 a month, which fed him. That's dropped in the last year to about $120, and now, of course, that's gone. The issue with it is less a matter of the money, how much it is, and more a matter of the security side of it. I could count on that because I have to make up any difference. So now I've got to go out and find additional work to supplement the income because that's not. That money is really needs to be raised. But the security of having that, even though it's only a small amount, was like, okay, that's something that I don't have to worry about. So that was really the biggest impact.
Yeah, well, and when you talk about the security side of it, Rick, it's, yes, you have to go out and get extra work. I think you said you're doing extra electrical work, but then you're not home with Bradley. So there's that part of it.
Right, and of course that can be a real challenge. I'm fortunate in that I can rely on people to watch him, but there's other people who don't have those resources. That impacts me. That does impact other people even in a larger way. I can't leave him alone. My mother is 92 and she's always willing, but imagine that scenario. So it can be very difficult, and that's you're wrestling with those questions. Do I find a way to so I'll eat less, or I won't feed the animals, or I'll push off the utility bill, or how do we go about this? So it was it really does create a lot of confusion and insecurity and fear more than anything else. I mean, just really, how do I make this work?
Yeah, none of those options are acceptable. That's really difficult. How about the state, Rick? Are they stepping in to fill in some gaps? I know some states have. How's Washington?
Washington State hasn't stepped up yet. There was an announcement by our Attorney General saying he was joining the lawsuit to get SNAP pushed forward. But Washington State is having its own budget struggles, and I don't believe that they're going to be able to do that. Though I have to give Washington State credit for being good for disabled people.
Yeah. I talked to someone else on SNAP benefits last week that they said they're making us choose between health or food, health care and food. How do you feel about this standoff right now? And what's your message to members of Congress?
My message to members of Congress is, I remember as a kid growing up, I actually went to Boys State. We studied civics. That was something that we did. And my message would be, let's drop the political posturing and actually negotiate in good faith. That's what governing is. Team, we're winning, you're losing. Those sorts of dynamics are not very helpful. There are 42 million people in this country who rely on SNAP, and we do rely on it. That doesn't mean we're lazy, doesn't mean we're not working as hard as we can to solve our own problems, but that did give us a break.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.